Bangkok, Thailand, a city known for its towering skyscrapers and bustling streets. But on a seemingly normal workday, a massive 30-story government building under construction collapsed without warning, sending waves of terror through the city. The tragedy left dozens of workers buried under the rubble, with emergency responders racing against time. One man, Sunan Kenait, a seasoned construction worker, miraculously survived the catastrophe. This is his harrowing story of survival against all odds. Sunan Kenait had been working on the 27th floor of the unfinished building. It was a hot and humid afternoon, and the noise of drills and hammers filled the air. Sunan had worked in construction for over a decade and had seen many large-scale projects rise from the ground. But something about this particular building felt different, unstable, even. He had noticed cracks forming in the concrete pillars a few days before, but the warnings he and his colleagues raised were dismissed by their supervisors. Then, disaster struck. A magnitude 7.7 earthquake originating in Myanmar sent shockwaves through the region, triggering the collapse of the Bangkok skyscraper. The earthquake devastated Myanmar, with more than 150 people confirmed dead near the city of Mandalay, according to Myanmar's military government. The U.S. Geological Survey estimated that the death toll could surpass 10,000. Myanmar, one of Asia's poorest nations, has long struggled with weak infrastructure, made worse by a civil war sparked by a 2021 military coup. The country's instability has left its buildings vulnerable to natural disasters, and the effects of this catastrophic earthquake reached far beyond Myanmar's borders, leading to structural failures as far as Thailand. Panic took hold of Sunan as he realized the building was collapsing. He ran toward the stairwell, only to find it crumbling before his eyes. Concrete chunks the size of cars fell around him, dust and debris filling the air, making it nearly impossible to see or breathe. Sunan knew he had seconds to react. Remembering a safety protocol he had learned years ago, he sprinted toward an open corridor where he saw scaffolding outside. With all his strength, he leaped through the opening just as the floor beneath him gave way. He grabbed onto the steel bars of the scaffolding, his hands slipping from the dust and sweat. The impact nearly knocked the wind out of him, but he held on for dear life as the building collapsed in slow motion behind him. For a moment, everything went silent. Then the ground shook violently as the structure came crashing down, engulfing everything in a thick, blinding cloud of dust. When Sunan finally climbed down to safety, he could barely process what had just happened. He stood among the ruins, his mind racing. The once towering structure was now a mountain of twisted steel and broken concrete. The sound of sirens filled the air as emergency responders arrived. The scale of the disaster became evident. Dozens of workers were still trapped beneath the rubble. Their muffled cries for help could be heard beneath the debris, but with the unstable remains of the structure, rescuers knew that getting to them would take days. Heavy machinery was brought in, but every movement had to be calculated to avoid further collapse. Sunan was rushed to a nearby hospital for minor injuries, but the emotional toll was far greater. He had lost colleagues, friends he had worked alongside for years. Survivors recounted similar fears about the building's poor construction, leading to suspicions of negligence. Investigations later revealed that substandard materials had been used, and safety warnings had been ignored. The tragedy could have been prevented. As Bangkok mourns the loss of the workers, authorities are vowing to hold those responsible accountable. Sunan Kenait's survival is nothing short of miraculous, but for him, it is a haunting memory that will never fade. The story of the Bangkok Tower collapse is a chilling reminder of how negligence and natural disasters can cost lives. And for those still trapped beneath the rubble, the race against time continues. Stay tuned as we uncover more shocking real-life stories. Don't forget to like, subscribe, and hit the notification bell to stay updated with our latest videos. Until next time, stay safe. While Thailand felt the aftershocks of the earthquake, Myanmar bore the brunt of the disaster. The nation, already crippled by political instability and economic struggles, faced unimaginable destruction. The earthquake exposed deep-rooted issues in Myanmar's infrastructure, where weak construction, lack of funding, and bad governance have left cities vulnerable to devastation. Mandalay, Myanmar's second-largest city, was among the worst hit. Entire neighborhoods crumbled under the force of the earthquake. Buildings that were hastily constructed without proper materials collapsed instantly, trapping thousands of people under rubble. Rescue efforts were slow due to damaged roads, limited emergency resources, and a government more focused on military control than humanitarian relief. Myanmar's weak infrastructure is a result of decades of mismanagement and corruption. The government has prioritized military spending over public welfare, leaving hospitals, schools, and public buildings in dire conditions. Roads are poorly maintained, bridges are unstable, and electricity shortages are frequent. The country lacks the resources to build earthquake-resistant structures, and safety regulations are often ignored in favor of cost-cutting measures. Beyond its failing infrastructure, Myanmar also struggles with high crime rates fueled by poverty and political turmoil. The collapse of law and order since the 2021 military coup has led to a surge in armed robberies, human trafficking, and drug-related crimes. In some areas, warlords and militia groups control entire regions, making them no-go zones for the average citizen. The Myanmar military, or Tatmadaw, has been accused of human rights abuses, including forced labor and the displacement of entire communities. Military checkpoints are scattered across the country, and those who oppose the regime often face imprisonment or worse. For ordinary citizens, survival is a daily challenge, with food shortages and inflation making basic necessities unaffordable. Another major factor contributing to Myanmar's instability is the country's use as a testing ground for military weapons and technology. Reports suggest that foreign powers and the military government have conducted weapons experiments in remote regions, exposing local communities to hazardous conditions. The detonation of explosives has weakened the land, making it more susceptible to earthquakes and landslides. Residents living near these testing sites report frequent tremors, unexplained illnesses, and environmental destruction. The government denies these claims, but satellite images show vast areas of land being cleared for undisclosed purposes. In some cases, entire villages have been displaced to make way for these secret operations. Myanmar is a nation on the brink, facing a combination of natural disasters, poor infrastructure, crime, and military control. The recent earthquake was not just a tragic accident, it was a disaster waiting to happen. As the country struggles to recover, its people continue to suffer under a government that prioritizes power over progress. The world watches as Myanmar fights for stability, but without serious intervention and reform, the cycle of destruction will continue. The tragic stories of those affected serve as a reminder of the real cost of corruption and neglect. Stay tuned as we uncover more shocking real-life stories. Don't forget to like, subscribe, and hit the notification bell to stay updated with our latest videos. Until next time, stay safe.